Hiya, another Marky-mark video. My goodness, I didn't realise I was going to get so much really positive feedback from my last video, and it left me thinking. There was a few things I really wanted to clarify, which I didn't explain very well. Hence this quick follow-up video. Um, Tap water. I never use tap water usually. It was a one-off. What I usually use is distilled pure water. The reason being that tap water contains a lot of impurities and it's not great, really, for use on records. Some of you might use it, that's fine. I very, very rarely use it. It was just that I don't have an awful lot of this stuff. It's quite expensive where I buy it from. What I usually do, if I've got a record that's fairly filthy but not too filthy, what I'll do is I'll stick it in this bottle. And the method that I use, and it works for me, So what I'll use is I'll put this on, this is really high pressure, and I'll hold the record over the sink, and I will basically squirt it. I'll rotate the record very gently and making sure, obviously, that I'm not covering the label, of course. But I'll literally squirt across and get as much of the muck as I possibly can before I go into the next stage using the deep track cleansing by Vinyl Clear. I also use distilled water, the same distilled water, to water down this 50/50, and I like it. I like the fact that using isopropanol and water, isopropanol breaks down the surface tension and it helps to evaporate the moisture, because at the end of the day you do not want any moisture really on your record when you go to put it away and archive it and put it away in your collection. You want it dry as a bone before you put it into its new inner sleeve. So just to clarify that, tap water isn't really for me a regular thing. It's a one-off. I always use distilled water. The other thing, another viewer mentioned around making sure to rinse off after the cleaning process, to rinse off with distilled water. I never do that. I've never done that. The reason being, I've got so much faith in this product, and I actually think you can't rinse all the cleaning solution from within the grooves using just water, because using just water, I mean distilled water or pure water, the surface tension won't actually penetrate the grooves. You're going to have to use some sort of surfactant rinse in order to really rinse out the solution from each of the grooves. So I've never rinsed it. I've relied on this, and it dries and evaporates really effectively, and that's me. I'm happy with that. Right. The other thing I wanted to mention about these glass cloths, which I really like, and I've loved these beyond the other cloths that we use, microfiber cloths. That's the word I'm looking for. The reason being, this does not leave any white, horrible fibers on your records. I was finding with microfiber cloths, when I was using them to wipe the muck and dry them, that when I played the record, I kept getting white fibers on the record, and so I ditched microfiber cloths. I also ditched those foam pads, those D-stat pads, that you hold on. You spin the record and hold the pad over it, and you sort of takes the dust off. I think they're absolutely useless. They introduce more static, in my opinion, than than anything else. So I really like these cloths. They're great. Don't throw them on the floor though. So quick video really to talk about labels. I've got some feedback about how to remove labels. So what I like to do with really good quality records is to keep the labels as much as possible. And so what I like to do is rehouse, for example, this Heron Miral from Acoustic Sounds. I'd like to put it in a plastic gatefold cover and keep the labels. So these aren't stuck onto the actual album cover, of course. They're on the cover. But I think when it comes to just retaining the heritage and the care and attention that's gone into making this record and the cost of it, keeping the information with it so you can kind of, it's just keeping it all together. It's keeping all the information about how it was made and some of the kind of like quality labels that come with these records. And so I like to preserve them, and I like to try and attach them to the cover. Same for this one, Trio 64 Bill Evans Acoustic Sounds. This label here, again, it's a gatefold. I like to retain it. Some people like to keep the shrink, and they wrap the shrink up and they put it with the record. I think that looks awful. For me, that's not how I want to do it. And some people like to throw the whole thing away, and that's fine too. So I'm just doing a quick video of what I like to do, and I'm going to try and demonstrate that with the Ray Brown Trio I had recently. It comes in this outer. We've got the stickers already on the original Acoustic Sounds outer plastic. Take it off. There we go. What I didn't mention, I'm not going to do a video on it, but every single new record that I get will get a wet clean, not a scrub like the last video I made. It will be a very basic wet clean with a long head goat brush. Very, very light touch, very easy done. It takes all the static and all the factory muck off. So I've already put this into a gatefold cover, and I've cleaned both of the records. Double LP, beautiful record this. Solar Energy. It's really, really good. What I'm going to do is remove these labels, and I'm going to reattach them onto here. And I find, Chad, if you're watching, you're probably not watching, but it would be great if Acoustic Sounds could somehow alter the recipe for the glue for these labels, because they're a nightmare to get off. An absolute nightmare. So I'm going to try and take these labels off and put them onto and get rid of this altogether, this plastic cover which serves no purpose. I like to hood my records as well, so putting on a plastic outer from the top down, so there's no dust that could possibly get onto the record. I'm really quite I'm not as nerdy as some, but that's how I do it. So let's take these labels off and I'll show you how. So what I'm doing, it doesn't take too long. It's a few minutes, but it's worth it, I think. I am introducing heat from my wife's hair dryer, just easing the adhesive off from behind the label, and I'm just gently taking it away from the plastic, and I will do that for all three labels and then reapply them to the new outer gatefold cover. That's the way I do it. I just thought I'd show that. It was it's a good idea. It's a good idea to keep all the labels, but these titles are so important. and the information on them is really important. And if, God forbid, one day my children decide to sell my records or whatever, you're keeping it all together, all the good stuff together. So bear with me, I'm going to just carry on doing this. Okay, we're almost there. Yeah, almost there. There we go. There we go. Lovely. Okay. What I'll do is just place that somewhere. Maybe about there. That's about where it was. Something like that. It's really hard doing it with a camera, but I want to keep it straight as possible, because if it's not straight, my OCD will just kick in. That's pretty good. Yeah, I like that. That's good. There we go. So let's take off the 100% analog sticker as well, using this hairdryer before I burn myself to bits. And I'll show you the finished result. Okay, after just a few minutes, label transferred. These labels are an absolute pain in the arse to take off the original plastic, so I had to use a standy blade and use a little bit of Pritt stick just to get that on. It's a bit crazy, but I enjoy it. It's keeps the labels together, and there you go. Thanks for watching. Put your comments in the comments box, say hi, and see you at the next Marky-mark video. Bye.